This is a very important idea. You guys heard threats that they're going to reintroduce a new China virus. They said the next time there's a plague, we're going to do these rules and we're going to make people live in boxes and stuff like that. All those people want to, run the world. So you could almost see, like it's been pointed out by some people, it's as though they're actually looking forward to the next plague or the next excuse for a plague so that they can impose all these rules and make people do things. There's some people actually get their kicks from that. That's what they live for. You've seen people like that. Usually it's about power, by the way. Power is a big gate to hard. People get power, just want more of it and more control. It's very strange. That's why, thank God, the miuta of human beings ever get such a power. So I thought that when such a thing comes, now we've already had our first experience, we should all just prepare a big sign, a big white background with big letters, no, period. Just saying no to everything. And they realized, wait a minute, that's what Avraham Avinu stood for, right? Just say no. The point of being a Jew in Ivri is everybody's on that side, and you have to say, I will not do this. Okay? A Jew is actually commanded, one other thing that we are given. A guy, is he given Yehareg Val Yavar mitzvahs? A guy is told not to murder. A guy is told not to commit adultery. A guy is told not to worship idols. Is it Yehareg Val Yavar for a guy? We saw this halacha. It's a Gemara in Sanhedrin. There's no such thing as Yehareg Val Yavar for a guy. For a Jew, there's a mitzvah. Kiddush Hashem. I have to say this again this week. They were calling our unfortunate neighbor a kadosh. He died al Kiddush Hashem. He died fighting the enemy, but he didn't die al Kiddush Hashem. Dying al Kiddush Hashem means killed for keeping the mitzvahs, refusing to violate an avera in order because of love for God or because that's what we're commanded. That's dying al Kiddush Hashem. You could have kadoshim die, but they didn't die al Kiddush Hashem otherwise, right? Mm-hmm. Even victims of terror are not considered Kiddush Hashem because they just thought it was probably a Chil Hashem that they got killed. That's what Bar-Hayim pointed out. So here's how the halacha goes. A Jew is commanded to sanctify God's name. Therefore, a Jew has a specific mitzvah that in certain circumstances, he is to let himself be killed. What are those commandments? Well, the big three. And during Shas Shmad, all sorts of commandments, right? Right? Mm-hmm. But like the Rambam points out, the Gemara in Sanhedrin, and this was the case that Naaman asked Elisha Hanavi. Naaman wanted to be a good guy, right? He saw how there's really a Navi B'Yisrael. So what was his question? He says, I'm going to go back to Ben Hadad's house, and he's the king of Aram, and he goes to the base of Avodah Zarah on a regular basis, and then he does his worship and all that. And I have to go with him and help him bow down. I have to participate in the worship. Please forgive me if I really can't get out of that because they'll kill me. That's part of my job description is I have to go to church with him. So Elisha says, Lech l'shalom, that's fine. You're a guy, you're forced into acts of idol worship. You don't have to fight back. A guy is an anus. And by the way, the halacha we saw earlier, any Jew who is anus into doing any avera, and even perhaps he had a mitzvah of Yehareg Val Yavor, if he did give in, the Jew couldn't stand the test. He worshipped the idol. He's completely pater. Anus Rachmana Patre. Yehareg Val Yavor is only lechatchila, before the fact, and it's only a mitzvah for a Jew. A guy is not supposed to say, you know what, I'm a good guy. I would rather get myself killed than worship those idols. No such mitzvah. It might be even a chazidut shtut on his part if he gets himself killed for doing such thing. He should worship the idols. That's the halacha. No, it's no mitzvah. A Jew, by the way, the halacha is basically saying a Jew himself should not give his life and do whatever avera it is if he's forced into it. Kamash Malan, we have a mitzvah of v'nikdashti, okay, that to sanctify God's name, and therefore, as Jews, we have to be willing to give our lives and not violate certain averas. Make sense? But for a guy, the halacha was that he has no such commandment. So that's an important one. So we have to know that this isn't going to be Yehareg Val Yavor. But we have to learn to say no. The Jews are supposed to say no. A guy has no such commandment. The guy is told in Ur Kasdim, worship idols, and he's being forced to by the king and his army. So the guy gives in. He's not doing anybody favors, and he's not helping God. He's not sanctifying God's name by allowing himself to be killed. Make sense? Mm-hmm. But Jews are given this commandment of Yehareg Val Yavor, and it comes into play many times in history. Like I said, when does Yehareg Val Yavor count? The big three. And during Shas Shmad for basically anything, right? if it's the guy's intention. Like the whole point is to get Jews to do averas, not for his tiyavon. Okay, so
wouldn't they still have Yarek valuable for murder because it's swap?
No,
They just kill somebody?
if they're forced into it, it's like pull, gun to the head, pull the trigger, or I'll shoot you. Then they do what they do. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Distinction between Jews. If a Jew kills somebody in self-defense, even though he could have just injured him, is patur, and the goy is
Let me think about that. Saying that the Jew has to be, if the Jew can, he can't kill the rodef. He should shoot him in the legs if that such a thing is possible, right? That's what a Jew has. So what about a goyim killing rodfim? Is that what you're saying?
I'm talking about a situation in which the rodef could have been just injured without being killed. If a Jew kills him,
the Jew's pater.
Then the Jew is patur. The goy is chayav.
No, so I think that a Jew who could have been mechavin, a Jew who easily could have disarmed the pursuer, but chose to kill him when he didn't need to, the Jew is still liable for such a thing.
Really?
Yeah, that's the argument in also in Sanhedrin, if I'm not mistaken, that they used with Yoav. Okay, Yoav and Benayahu. You know what I'm talking about? Who was the one who killed Yoav ultimately? Benayahu. And that was part of the argument. Oh, Yoav got killed in self-defense or whatever it was. I'm not mistaken. I have to look at it. I mean, now I'm confusing it. But the claim was self-defense. And so he says, yeah, but you used lethal force. You could have easily, if you were so, you used lethal force, says he, what does that mean? Very Dulitz used to like teaching this one. Pasuk says he hit him in the fifth rib, right? The chomesh, apparently. He was able to aim so well, he got him perfect shot, killed him right away. If he could have done such a thing, he could have easily just gotten a shot that would have easily subdued him, disarmed him, and then he wouldn't have had to kill him. So it shows that what he did was what was wrong. He used lethal force when he didn't have to, so he's liable for doing that. I think that's also the halacha here. You could look it up. It's in Moshe and I didn't get to it yet, but it's in Nezikin here. Nezakim. According to the Rambam, by the way, you guys saw that? Makbili points it out. They corrected it. They printed Makbilis, apparently, Makbili Rambams. What is the word Nezakim? Nezakim is the plural of nezek, right? Damages. Nezek is a Hebrew word. Nezakim is the plural of nezek. What are nizikim? Nizikin, the order of Shas. Sort of. I mean, the idea of damages. But nizikin is what? Aramaic / rabbinic Hebrew. It's not a Hebrew form, right? It's like Kiddushin, right? Yeah, so nizikin. So that's the order of Shas. When the Rambam wrote this book, it's a different name. It's Nizakim, true Hebrew, biblical Hebrew. So the problem is certain editions of the Rambam call this book Nizikin also, right? So I think that Makbili, actually, the printer, whoever it was, changed it on him. And on certain books, if I'm not mistaken, they printed also Nizikin, Sefer Nizikin. And no, it's Nizakim, Be a proper Rambamist, but soon we're going to see where they change things with the Rambam. So the Jews have to learn to say no. The point is that this particular commandment of Yeharg ve'Gavor was given to the type of people who are capable of saying no, right? Goyim weren't given this mitzvah. Bnei Noach weren't given this mitzvah, so they're not expected to say no when told, do this or die, violate this terrible sin or die. For them, there is no such issue. They just do what they're told so they can save their lives. But a Jew knows better. A Jew has the capacity to say no. So we have to know when to say no. And like I said, I anticipated us having to do this the next time they tell us to wear masks for no good reason, or the next time they impose rules about not seeing your grandmother and all that, even though the people opposing the rules don't care about the rules, right? And all sorts of other terrible things that could come back that we pray do not, for strictly crazy purposes that have no one's real health in mind. That's what I thought initially. But then the war started. And you know what I realized? This is something very relevant to anybody serving in the war. There should have been a lot of people refusing orders in the Hitnat Kut. The disengagement. You guys were born. You were born after the Hitnat Kut, right?
When was the
In 2005. No,
I was
no.
born in 2003.
Oh, okay. So you maybe could have talked when the Hitnat Kut happens. Were you born after? No. 2005. Okay. Everybody here was born after before the Hitnat Kut, right? The Gaza disengagement. Well,
they're older than me, so.
They're older. Okay. They're not crazy older. It's just like, okay. We have some newlyweds here.
So
You haven't hit your anniversary yet.
Yeah.
You did? Oh, you did. Okay. Did baby come before it or after?
After.
Just after. Okay. So if you had the baby in your first year, that's like you get a special medal or something. Okay. They give you a prize at the hospital. Do you get all the freebies?
We collected part of them. We need to put it back.
Yeah. I heard the hospitals changed around in the last few years. Okay.
Thank God.
Yeah. So what happens?
Put the money to have kids.
Well,
It's at least at the beginning, it's worth having kids. I want it gets expensive.
the state of Israel actually helps families. You know, they thank God we still have a certain culture that appreciates children, and it still facilitates having children. You know, it's a good thing. We still have a Jewish society here. Okay. So I realize with regard to the word, the Hitnot Kut would not have happened if enough people had said no, right? The Hitnot Kut was perpetrated by who? There are many people on the ground, by the way, the people who refused to leave. They were saying no, but what we didn't have is enough calls for Seiruf Pikudah, refusal of orders. It wouldn't have happened if there had been enough security services who just said, no, this is something you're not going to do. And by the way, we're paying the price right now for the Hitnot Kut. The bill came due 18 years later. The Hitnot Kut happened on Tisha B'Av 2005, right? And now it took a reasonable amount of time for the children of the Hitnot Kut who were living in Gaza, saw what happened, to grow to become 22-year-old men, and now they're able to do what they were given the task to do, right? So we could have stopped that. And now, whatever it is they're plotting in Gaza, you're like I said, you people on the front lines could tell me more about this. The whole thing, the retreat, destroy the tunnels and then retreat, right? Or whatever it is. We need a critical mass of soldiers and I guess officers to say no. Hold up a big sign, take a big red marker, and I think it works better if you don't say it in English. You know, just because certain expressions work well in Hebrew also. People know what no means. Okay, or make it low. But the problem is in English, it's easier to do a cursive, a script. A print English, like simple letter N and simple letter O. If you wanted to write it in Hebrew cursive, it doesn't look so good, right? And if you want to print the sign, and most people can't. Yeah. So I just think write it in big red Latin letters, capitals with a period, not even an exclamation point, a simple no. Exclamation point makes you sound crazy, right? You're just saying it. No, we're Jews. There are certain things we will not do, and we will not make Jewish blood cheap once again.
We would like to encourage our viewers to share these videos with friends and send in your responses. If you would like to obtain Birkon Nusach Eretz Yisrael or invite the rabbi for a speaking engagement, please email us at office@machonshilo.org.